Friends, I'm sure you've had a long day. You've played a variety of sports. The last thing you want to listen is a sermon, and that too from a sinner, not from a priest. But I won't make it that boring. We'll keep it fast, touch and go. I'm sure all of you are extremely tired. First and foremost, I would like to thank Andrea, Dominic, and the entire team of HTI for this wonderful opportunity where I come in once again. Whenever I've come to any of HTI's events, it's been absolutely a brilliant experience for me, simply because though we come to speak, in the process we also learn a lot. I get very interesting feedback. Even the last time when I spoke at an HTI event, I got some very interesting feedback, some very interesting observations. So in the long run, that's what keeps us going. But here today, I would like to draw your attention to an interesting aspect of management, which is inspired by sports. Now, I've been told we've had a very interesting box cricket tournament earlier in the day. How many of you all actually played the game? Oh wow, fantastic. And which team won? Sorry, I didn't hear that. Oh, Oberoi Flight Services, fantastic. So you all are really flying high. Great. Now, I don't consider cricket to be just another ball game, because there's a lot to learn from cricket. I would just like to draw a few interesting insights into this fascinating game of cricket, which is almost, I would say, a cult religion in our country. We consider Sachin Tendulkar to be the god of cricket. And I think cricket is one point in time when the entire nation is glued to the television sets if they're not on the cricket grounds. But more importantly, friends, I don't know how many of us have actually realized that probably this is one game which takes as much management skills as any of our businesses or our professional work demands. First and foremost, like in any other aspect of life, whether it's your professional field or your personal life, you have to lead from the front. Now, and despite not being at peak performance in that tournament, now it takes a lot of courage in yourself to come in a final match, in a World Cup final, when you're not performing at your peak, to still come down at 2 down and put a regular guy behind you, though he's in peak form. Yuvraj Singh was in great form that tournament. So therein, I think Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who's I think a perfect class for leadership, he's Captain Cool as we all know him, but he's got the courage of his convictions. He came in at 2 down, made a fantastic score, and India went on to win that final. So I think cricket teaches us to lead from the front. In my personal experience, I had a which is nothing compared to what these cricketers have all the time, all the place. But I had the opportunity of anchoring a celebrity cricket match, which was Salman Khan 11 versus the physically handicapped children. And though I've anchored many functions, I've been the master of ceremonies for many events in a span of more than 10 to 12 years, I distinctly remember the scenario at Brabourne Stadium. That was my first experience of giving live commentary on a cricket match and anchoring a cricket tournament. There were 50,000 people across Brabourne Stadium, and you're at the center of the stadium, Salman Khan standing next to you, and all those people, I'm sure nobody wants to look at me, everybody wants to look at Salman Khan. Yeah, no two things about that. But imagine, they're booing, they're screaming, they're yelling. It's mob psychology at its very best. And I was just imagining for a moment, I had to anchor that program for 6 long hours, that includes commentary and live stage anchoring. What might the cricketers be going through when you have 50,000 or a lakh of people staring at you, shouting, screaming, yelling? It takes some kind of temperament, it takes some kind of patience, it takes a kind of attitude where you have to be extremely focused despite all that's happening around you. I've elected to bat first. So everybody was surprised by the decision Arjuna Ranatunga took to field first. But again there, Arjuna Ranatunga had the tremendous confidence that his team are very good in chasing a total. His experience had taught him that. So he, in a sense, defied the tradition. he in a sense did not observe the norms and the conventional format that was followed in all previous World Cups, though he himself had done the case study and he himself was fully aware of it. And of course, it's history today that 1996, Sri Lanka went on to become the world champions of cricket, and he well and truly put Sri Lanka on the world map of cricket. They were considered absolute minnows earlier. They were not taken too serious earlier in cricket till they won the 1996 World Cup. So what has Arjuna Ranatunga demonstrated? He has demonstrated an ability to take the forbidden path, to have the courage of his convictions and move ahead despite of all the traditional knowledge and wisdom that went against his decision. So I think therein we had another brilliant example where you don't follow the herd mentality and you choose your path based on based on the information inputs that you have about your team, about your organization, and about what you have learned from life at large. So that was one more brilliant example I thought from cricket, which we also apply in professional management and in enterprise, which inspires all of us to take the forbidden path. Most important, I don't know how many of you all would recollect the 1975 World Cup which had Sunil Gavaskar in it, the famous Indian cricketer and batsman. Do you all recollect the 1975 World Cup? Yeah, but you might have probably read about it somewhere in the books, no? Okay. 1975 was probably the first few World Cups in cricketing history. And those days there used to be a 60 over format. Yeah, 60 over. Now Gavaskar played the entire 60 overs. I mean, we all know Gavaskar is a classic test player, and in his true test spirit and test format, he played the entire 60 overs. The opposition could not get him out. And imagine what was his score. 36. Another Gavaskar fan out there. Okay, 36 was the precise score which... Now, this brings us to a very interesting point. Loyalty versus productivity. Gavaskar was absolutely loyal to his team. He stuck the entire 60 overs. He was on the crease. But in terms of productivity, he scored just 36 runs in 60 overs, which was of no use to the team whatsoever. He might as well have got out at that point of time and let another batsman take over who could score faster, and probably we had some realistic chance of beating England. Another batsman from England scored 137 in the same match and England won hands down. So that brings us to a very interesting point. Now we are playing games, we are all part of some organization or the other. Loyalty definitely matters, but productivity matters more than loyalty. So at any point of time, your productivity, you should keep your eyes on productivity. Loyalty definitely counts, but productivity matters much, much more than loyalty. And probably it was too early in the World Cup history for even Gavaskar to anticipate what kind of scores were happening in World Cup cricket. So probably he just stuck to it and scored 36 runs in 60 overs. But that's the interesting point that I would like to make. Productivity, whether you're playing a game, whether it's a professional organization, productivity is the key. Like in our organization, we have people sitting sometimes from 9 in the morning till 9 in the night. But I ask them, they're extremely satisfied that they've been in the office for 12 hours. But we ask them a counter question. You may be there for 6 hours, you may be there for 4 hours, you may be there for 8 hours. The question is, what have they achieved in this time span? Productivity is the key, whether it's on a cricket field, whether it's any sport or any enterprise. Now quickly friends, my last 2 or 3 points before I'd like to sum up this entire discussion with you. We are in a constantly changing environment. Uncertainty is the only certain thing about our times. Now even in a cricket field, you would note the field is always being changed. The fielders' positions are being changed. A bowler is suddenly bowling to a right-hand batsman and sometimes to a left-hand batsman. He has to change his angle, he has to change his line and length, he has to change his field positioning. So cricket is also about a constantly changing environment. In life also, it's also always about a constantly changing environment. The ability to adapt to change is the key. The ability to adapt to change is the key, and if you can't adapt to change, you'll probably be swept away by change. Dominic, do we have a timer? Have I crossed my time limit? Yes, okay. Dominic is showing me the red flag, and but I will quickly wind up. And friends, before I do the winding up, all of you please remember, I think each one of you made an effort today is a winner, like in cricket or any other sport of life or in a business enterprise. Everybody of each one of you for listening to me, and we look forward to coming back to HTI more often. It's a lot of love and warmth I get from Andrea, Dominic, Sumita and the entire team here, the entire HTI team. They've always been very warm to us, and I consider this event as our very own. So that's why no matter when, where and how, when Andrea and Dominic call me, I always come. Because I consider it my very own. All of you are part of, this kind of warmth, this kind of reception you don't get everywhere. So thank you so much. I wish you all luck, and I see a winner in each one of you. Thank you so much for bearing with me and listening to me. Thank you.